can share with Irina and with everyone from me and my school. The session is...
Right now, Irina has a representative who could talk about me and my school. I just say a couple of words. Сайтом Знання.com. Можливо, хтось про нього вже чув, але Знання.com – це один з найстаріших сайтів Brainly, якому вже 12 років. І ми стараємось допомагати дітям, вчителям вчитися, розвиватися. І якщо хтось любить займатися шкільною програмою, вчитися або допомагати іншим, запрошую вас в команду модераторів. Інші питання можуть бути пізніше, а зараз я передам слово. Не знаю, як звати вас.
Зараз представлюся. Пані Ірина не змогла доєднатися, у неї був такий дуже напружений день, тому вона в дорозі. Я вам трішечки розповім про наш центр, буквально там 3 хвилиночки. Всім доброго вечора, всіх вітаю. Мене звати Даніл, я представник «Я і моя школа». Ми є першим в Україні освітнім центром для педагогів, батьків та дітей. Наш центр пропонує більше 80 опцій якісного розвитку педагогів, батьків і дітей. Їх поділено на 11 напрямків. Серед форматів навчання – це повноцінні курси, короткі майстер-класи, public talks, виїзди тренерів у навчальні заклади, індивідуальні консультації, стажування у компаніях, також екскурсії і так далі. Зараз переважно ми працюємо онлайн. Багато з вас, можливо, чули про нашу мовну школу. Наразі ми навчаємо англійською, німецькою, польською та іспанською мовами. Ми випустили воркбук з англійської мови і вже працюємо над новим. Тож будемо раді вас бачити на наших мовних курсах. Також підліткам буде цікава підготовка до ЗНО. Зараз ми готуємо з математики, української мови та літератури, англійської, історії та хімії. Ми проводимо тренінги для дорослих освітян. Із останнього ми провели 2-денну двіжуху в Харкові з нашими викладачами. Також в середині вересня будемо перезапускати тренінги з сексуальної освіти для підлітків, дорослих, учительства, також дітей молодшого віку. За всіма нашими анонсами ви можете спостерігати в наших соціальних мережах, в Інстаграмі і Фейсбуці. Так як сьогоднішня тема у нас CV, у нас в центрі діє напрямок розвитку підприємництва, зокрема, серед підлітків, то звичайна така тема, як написання резюме, портфоліо та CV, є важливим вмінням сучасних дітей. На жаль, школа в більшості випадків не реалізує опанування цього вміння, тому ми вирішили вам допомогти в рамках таких неформальних можливостей. Головною менторкою сьогоднішньої зустрічі є Каміла Рібейро, керівниця відділу маркетингу і залучення клієнтів у Brainly. Також ми запросили нашого хорошого друга і тренера англійського спікінг-клабу Івана Біляєва. Він буде допомагати вам перекладати незрозумілі слова, якщо вони такі будуть. Тож це все. Давайте перейдемо до самого тренінгу. Раді, що вам відгукнулася така тема. Дякую всім за увагу.
You're muted.
So can I have a word for a moment?
Sure.
I'm going to translate some words to people if they don't understand something. So I'll ask them to raise a hand to when they don't get something, okay? Тож, вітання, друзі, всім дуже радий вас всіх бачити. Я буду перекладати сьогодні. Якщо щось буде незрозуміло, то, будь ласка, тут є функція підняти руку. Це буде сигнал і для мене, і для Вільяма, що треба включитись і, в принципі, щось зупинитись і щось пояснити. Добре? Сподіваюсь, що да, ви бачите всю цю функцію підняти руку, тож так. Дякую. So, yeah, that's it. Sorry.
All right, perfect. So I think that that you already gave a bit introduction about Camila, which is our engagement marketing lead at Brainly, and she's going to be helping us with this presentation to explain a little bit about how to create your curriculum, portfolio, and some of those other things around when we're looking for a job. And we will also share the presentation, not just the recording, but the slides also later on. So if anyone wants to, on your own time, read it and study, you can also do that and take the most out of this content that Camila has created for us. So I guess now we're 8 minutes over the time and we can get started. Camila, the floor is yours. Thank you for coming and for sharing your knowledge with us. And yeah, let's do this. Oh, you're muted or I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, that's better. I have Bluetooth earphones, they never work. Okay. So this is going to be a quick presentation. I will try to explain everything in the time that we have. If anyone has a little bit of time after this, I will just keep presenting, so it will stay in the recording, and anyone that needs to leave first, leave, but they will have everything in the recording, okay? Also, at the end of there will be some time for questions, but please, you don't have to wait until the end. You can just ask the questions whenever you have them, okay? Be free to stop me if there is anything you can't understand. Okay. So for today, I have a long agenda. First, I will do a little bit of an introduction. Then we will talk a little bit about what's a CV. Also, what are transferable skills? How do you customize your CV? Some of the common mistakes that a lot of people make, some examples, also the cover letter, and a little bit extra, if we have the time, the portfolio. Okay. First, the purpose of this presentation is to learn how to create a good CV for any type of profile or any job. Okay, this is a little bit about me. Those were 3 different types of CVs that I had before joining Brainly. So the first one, I was still in school, university. It's horrible. Please do not follow this example. Bad. I will explain later why it's bad. The second one was when I decided that I wanted to be a graphic designer. Spoiler, also bad. The third one was when I actually found myself and said, no, look, what I have to give to a company is my knowledge in marketing. So what I want to share with everyone is what I can actually achieve in marketing. And this is my third curriculum that you can see here in the right. And this is actually the curriculum that got me in Brainly. Now, less about me and more about understanding a CV. Okay, first, a CV is a personal marketing tool. It showcases your skills, your experience, and your achievements to an employer. It's the first impression that people will have of you, so it's important to be clear and organized. Just remember that most people that you are actually going to talk to, for them to offer you a job, they don't know you. And actually, they won't give you the time for an interview just because you look nice or because maybe your name sounds good. So you need to explain to them why they should give you a little bit of time. And this is exactly the CV. Okay, let's understand a little bit about the CV. First and foremost, who reads it? We have 2 big areas that we could divide who reads the CV. So first, in small companies, maybe familiar companies with like less than 10 people, 20 to 10 people, who is going to read your CV is probably the owner, because they don't have very divided departments. They probably don't even have an internal HR department. So the person who will read this is probably the owner, the president, or whatever you want to call this. But if this is a very big company, probably the first person that will read your CV is the HR manager. But it doesn't stay there. After the HR manager, they will probably send your CV, if they like it, to the hiring manager. That will be the person that will have you in their department, the person that actually wanted to hire someone for this position in the first place. Okay, now let's take these two areas and see how do we write a CV. Because it's not the same to write a CV for the owner of the company, for HR manager, and even for the hiring manager. So one thing that those three areas have in common is that they probably do not have a lot of knowledge of your area. If they did, they probably would not be hiring you. So what we need to understand with this is that you need to be as clear as possible. Explain technical words, explain if you use some software, explain what that software is. Do not assume that the person who is reading this has the same technical knowledge that you have, because if they did, again, they would not be hiring you. So it does not matter who you're going to, explain everything, okay? And have in mind every time that the owner of the company, probably not, they probably would not have any knowledge of your area. The HR manager, maybe a little bit, because they were shared what they need of you. And the hiring manager, this person probably at least knows exactly what they want from you. Okay, so depending on the size of the company that you are going for, keep that in mind. And of course, that leads to the second question. What if I want to apply for different vacancies? Well, you kind of need different curriculums. And this actually takes to the point of do not apply to every job that's out there, because you don't have time and you don't have the, I don't know, energy to be creating a different CV for absolutely every job that's out there. This is a tip. Maybe you could have a CV that's a little bit more basic, more general. With this one, you can apply to some jobs that's like, look, okay, if I get this, would be good. And then if you have some job positions that you like very much and you say like, wow, I would love to work for this company, or I would love to have this job position, this is the moments that you have to tailor a CV for each of those jobs, okay? So these are the moments that you have to take into consideration who you're talking to with the CV. Nice. How long can my CV be? Probably everyone heard this saying about, oh, do not go for the 2 pages. 1 page is the max that you can have on a CV. Or even there was like a rule of thumb some time ago, like depending on the amount of years that you've been working, you can add 1 page for extra year that you had after 5 years. Sounds like maths. No, why? It's so much simpler than this. Put what is relevant. If what is relevant takes 2 pages, then look, it takes 2 pages. That's it, okay? What the hiring manager, HR manager, or the owner of the company need to know is what's relevant. This does not mean that you can say, oh, Camila said that I can just write whatever I want in my CV, because it can be as long as I want. Do not write a book. We will only add there things that are relevant. We'll get more of it later. Then what should I do? What should I have on my CV? So first, contact information. Sounds basic. a lot of people forget this. Give them at least an email to contact you with, okay? Professional goal. Okay, this is important. Probably most of you will see in some examples on Google or whatever, when you are starting to think about your CV, this like very small paragraph that is on the top of some examples that say like introduction or goal. Those are cool. You can use these to introduce yourself. They are not strictly necessary. Most of the time, the hiring person will not read it because they want key points. They've been reading like 20 CVs already. You are the 21st. They will not be reading paragraphs and paragraphs. They want key things. They want bullets. They want to understand numbers. They want to understand what you can do for them. So look, if you have space in the CV, add it. If you don't, it's not necessary, okay? Then, education. Education is important, but even more important than that, it's explaining what you learned in your education. Sure, your school or your university, your course may have a very cool name, very, I don't know, fancy sounding. But if you don't explain what you learned there, it will be very hard for a person that does not have technical knowledge in your area to understand what you're capable of. So, for example, I have a master in something called intelligence analysis. What is that? No idea. Every time I went to an interview, I had to explain. I mean, same, I also didn't know what that was when I started the master. So this is the thing. A lot of times schools are very poetic with their names of the courses and stuff. So yes, of course, add the name of your master there, your course or whatever, but then add 2, 3 bullet points saying, I learned how to do geopolitical analysis in moments of tension. I learned how to do company analysis for crisis. Those are things that does not matter if people understand you or not. They will understand why that is kind of cool. Okay, same thing applies to work experience. It's not enough to say, I worked from 2018 to 2019 in this graphic store. No. You have to explain to people, what did you do there? And more important, what did you achieve? Because it does not matter if you, I don't know, manage the social media of this store. Sure, anyone can manage social media. The question is, did you manage it well? And how can you say that to the hiring manager? You can say, I achieved 10,000 followers on the Instagram of this brand. I sold 20 t-shirts. I don't know. Sorry, I'm very bad at creating and improvising. I sold 20 t-shirts on my time on the store. Explain things that will make sense to anyone and will explain what your value is. Because imagine, I'm a hiring manager. I want someone to manage my social media. I have no idea how this is done. But I've seen that this person here managed these social media for this store, and they got 10,000 Instagram followers. I want that too. I'm going to hire this person because they can do for me what they did for this other company. And this is how you can actually resonate with those people. You can actually explain to the hiring manager why you are valuable and why they should hire you. Okay, then skills. All of those things that you are able to do that sometimes you can't explain on their work experience or education. Sometimes you taught yourself how to edit things on Photoshop. or you taught yourself how to create a web page. Who knows? Maybe you never worked with that, but that's a cool skill. In skills, also you will add softwares that you know how to use. Microsoft Office, Photoshop, Lightroom, Premiere, whatever you have. Things are going to be added there. Okay. Then, is it necessary to add references? No. And I will tell you why. Some people, although it's very weird, some people actually are interested in seeing if you're telling the truth. What you do in your curriculum is add at the bottom of it references available under request. Why? Can you imagine nowadays that you have your curriculum uploaded on LinkedIn, uploaded on Easy Jobs and all those kind of things, and you have there the contact information of your previous manager? That's not fun. Their email, their phone number, their name on the internet without their consent, that's not fun. And that's a lot of steps to ask them if they consent on having their name on the internet. It's so much easier to just add available on the request. And if they request it, then you give it to them. Most of the time, no company will actually ask for references before the first interview. So you have a lot of time to actually talk to this manager for them to ask you, hey, would you mind giving me the references? Photo or no photo? Look, in a perfect world, my answer would be no photo. Because no one needs to see your face to see if you are valuable for this work or not. It's not important. Your gender, your age, your face, your race, anything, they're not important. In a perfect world, my answer would be no photo. But I also know that small companies still have the prejudice where they want to see your face, and that maybe they won't even take a second look at your CV if they don't see a photo. So basically here the answer will be twofold. Company that is small, less than 20 employees, add a photo, just in case. Any more than that, no need. Okay? Everything good so far? Anyone has questions? Am I still muted and no one heard anything that I was saying? No, Milena, go on.
Hi. So I got everything. That's cool. I just need to write motivational letter for my university.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, if I'm gonna apply for some job or something else, is it relevant to put my psychological education in my resume? Well,
yes. Yes, mainly because anything related to psychology can also translate to something that we will talk in the next slide, that is the transferable skills. They will tell the employee that does not matter what job you will be performing, you have an ability to treat with people, to be able to understand them, to be empathetic, and actually to perform under pressure in a better way than if you actually did not have that education. So even if your job is not related to that psychology education, that's very important. It's a very cool transferable skill.
Okay, thanks. And I also need to explain, like on this course, I learned to talk to people normally. I learned to be open-minded. So I'm not going to create problems within company.
Yes, with a different choice of words, but yes.
Okay. Oh, so you need to use strictly formal language.
Yes, that's important.
Ooh.
That's
Okay.
important. You don't have to use technical terms because, again, most people will not understand that, but formal is good. Okay, because mainly you can explain there that you were able to do formal. If later in an interview they want to step down to a more informal kind of talk, then you can too. But first, you need to explain that formal is something that you can do.
Thanks.
Sure. Any other question? Okay, I'll keep going. Okay, $1 million question. What if I don't have experience? Don't worry, we've all been there. And that's where the transferable skills take place. So transferable skills are skills that you acquire and can use in many different types of situations or jobs, even if the way that you actually acquire them is not related to the job or was not in a job setting. Okay, sounded lovely, did not understand. Let's explain. Okay, transferable skills, they are skills that you acquired somewhere else. I don't know. Imagine that you always lead your school groups. You like to do, I don't know, different work in school, and you are always the leader and always the one presenting all the jobs that you have in front of the class. That's a transferable skill. First, you are showing your capacity of leadership. And twice, you are telling them that you can also talk in public. 3, you are also telling them you are able to work in a team. All of those are very important skills. Okay, they also show your potential to learn, because if you learned a lot of different skills through your education or growing up, whatever, you are showing to this employer, that you are able to learn and adapt to a new environment. So let's go for another example. Imagine that you are preparing for a test that's very hard. And God, does not matter how many times you read that information, it's not entering your head. Like, it's just not going there. Then what you decide to do was create a tool with ChatGPT that summarizes everything for you. So you add that too. You know why? Because that shows your abilities problem solving. You had a problem, you solved it, and you actually landed an A+ on your exam. Maybe you tried studying for this test and you couldn't understand anything, and then you decide to download the Brainly app and study. Sorry, I will not go there. That's self-marketing. Okay, next thing. You have a blog. I know, you like to write novels. You like to write poetry, or even you have a web page with news about some topic that you are very interested in. All of those are great. Communication skills, because you are able to write very well in a way that you can transfer information between you and everyone that is reading your blog. But also entrepreneurship. You started a project for yourself. All of those things are very important for an employer. Okay. And remember, volunteering is also experience. I don't know, you helped in a shelter for dogs and cats because you love dogs and cats. That's super important. That shows you ability to have obligations, to have tasks, and actually to perform them well. Okay, so all of those things that sometimes we think, oh, this is not important, I'm not going to add in my CV. But actually think if those abilities that you learned actually show to the employer something that you can do for them. And if they do, add them. Examples. I usually like to divide in my own CVs, and this is not my creation, okay? This is something that's recommended by a lot of very big companies, including consulting companies like McKinsey. They recommend 5 categories for those skills for you to try and cover them all with at least one skill or one project that you did to show each of those. So those 5 are problem solving, personal impact, entrepreneurship, leadership, and communication. Okay, well, communication, we already talked about this. Leadership, any kind of leadership in a team, in a project, whatever you want. Entrepreneurship, even having a blog, creating a project, creating an association, a band. You created a band. You created the football team of your school. I don't know, all of this is entrepreneurship. Personal impact. How did you make a personal impact in something? Could be a project, could be your school, could be your neighborhood, could be your building association. Anything works here. And problem solving, that's self-explaining. You had a problem and you created something cool to solve it. Please add all of these. Here, you have some examples of things that I have on my on curriculum. I'm not going to go through those, but they are in the slides if you guys can want to take a look later. Where do I start? Everything sounds lovely in theory, but how do we actually apply all of these things that this lady has been talking to you for the last 30 minutes? Start by choosing a job offer. Go on LinkedIn, go on whatever you want. Choose that job offer that you say like, if I just could get that one. You read it. And that's the part. Usually take a paper, is useful. And find out all the skills that this offer mentions. Just, I don't know, underline it, do notes, whatever you want. And make a list of all those skills and a project that you have that could show that you have that skill. Project experiences, whatever you want, okay? So, I'm so sorry, this is very small. I will go through very quickly these. So basically, this is a job offer for advertisement copywriter. They want someone for this company called Avila. They are a communication web agency, and they explain, we communicate the essence of our clients with creativity, transparency, generating positive and economically sustainable experiences for everyone. There is one thing that we already can underline here, creativity. This is the kind of skill that if they pride themselves in being creative, they will want a person that's creative too. Write it down the list. Let's think about a project or something that we could demonstrate our creativity through. We can keep looking. We are looking for an editor who has technical knowledge. We already know technical knowledge. That's about knowing the theory, software. Maybe you did a course online that would help on this. It does not need to be a paid course, a master, or university. Could be a free YouTube course. You learn something there. Let's go. That has initiative and responsibility. Initiative. You started something, you started a project. Responsibility. Look at that volunteering that we talked about that taught you how to be responsible with some tasks. All of those can go in there. They say, for example, they want someone organized and willing to work. Organized, another thing there. Committed to their schedules and the work routine. Show somewhere else that you had this routine and that you kept going for a long time, etc., etc. You go through all the job description and create this list. After you create this list, it's time to actually create the CV. First, Unless you want a designer job, a very creative job, a very, I don't know, art-related job, keep it simple. Use a format that's clear to understand. I know, we all like those pretty CVs that we see, I don't know, on Pinterest. Not all of them actually work. Because, and this is super important, there is another person that's going to read your CV. And it's not a person. It's a machine. For a lot of big companies, the first thing that will read your CV is a machine. Is a computer that's going to take a look at the CV, scan it for keywords, and say, does this keyword match the keywords that are my job offer? Yes. Okay, I'll send this to an HR manager. Okay. If you create a super fancy, super pretty, super creative and designed CV, someone will look and say like, oh, that's pretty. The machine will never be able to read that. So if you're going for a big company and you're not going for a super creative job, keep it simple, keep it legible. This is super important. As we mentioned before, don't assume the reader will understand. Explain everything. Do not use acronyms. Do not use shortening versions of the names of softwares. Do not call Photoshop PS. May sound obvious, but a lot of people do not understand what PS is. So explain. Assume they do not know. Okay? Show soft skills. Not only knowing Photoshop, knowing how to use a camera, knowing how to drive, not only those are important. As we mentioned before with Milena, having psychology skills are good. Having talking skills, having understanding skills. And, oh, I should have mentioned this one before the talking skills, having listening skills, because those are more important than the talking ones. But all of those, they are important. They show to an employer that you are able to not only do the tasks of this job, but also have those tasks done while keeping a very good environment for everyone that's working with you. So in here, things like working in teams, public speaking, adaptability, fast learner, all of those kind of things, they're soft skills. Show them. Quantify everything. Sorry, I skipped one. Use verbs that show actions. Okay. When we are creating those bullet points that will explain your education, that will explain your work experience, we will talk with verbs. So instead of in this company, social media manager, social media marketing, or I don't know. Yeah, those kind of things. What we're going to create is a sentence that will explain very shortly what you did, what you achieved. So, for example, I recruited and organized the marketing department of the company. I explained exactly there what I did, what I achieved. I, as we mentioned before, achieved 10,000 followers on TikTok. In there, you are already showing them that you're able to use TikTok, that you manage the TikTok of the brand, and that you actually managed it well enough to get 10K followers. So sorry, I'm old enough that I don't even know if TikTok goes by followers, but if it doesn't, then just think about Instagram or something. Okay. Also, one sec. So sorry, I talk way too much. Quantify everything. Your achievements, if you have a number that goes with them, it will sound lovely. So instead of I made sales for my company, say I sold 20 t-shirts. That 20 is something that me as an employer, I can look and say like, I want to sell 20 t-shirts too. And this person is going to achieve it for me. Because just being very vague and saying, I got sales, could be 1, could be 2, they're sales. And it does not establish this relation that we want to have with the employer, okay? Try to use only work-related experiences. This also works for the transferable skills. Look, a transferable skill is you do an amazing barbecue. It is a transferable skill. You learned how to do barbecue when you were in your house, and now you want a job as a cook. Knowing how to do a barbecue is important. But if you want to be a marketer, kind of like knowing how to make a barbecue is not important. So even if you have that transferable skill, think if that skill or that experience actually gives any value to the employer, okay? For example, absolutely non-important anecdote about myself. I started working as a model when I was young. Had a lot of jobs as a model. Those jobs are never in my curriculum because they do not add any value for me as a marketer. No one is going to think about me and say like, oh, I'm going to hire this girl because she was a model before. No one cares. And if no one cares, it's only taking space in your CV. Take it out of there, okay? Oh, and this is important. Remember about not assuming that everyone understands. So let's take this into practice. Ask someone else, mainly if this someone else does not have any technical knowledge about your area, ask them to read your CV and then ask them to tell you what they understood. That's exactly when you're going to see, oh my, I didn't explain this well, because if this person understood this and this is not what I was trying to say, these are very important. Okay, and then after you have all the CV, it's time to review, because common mistakes, oh my God, they happen so often. And I will tell the list, they will sound stupid, but you do not know how often they actually happen. So spelling and grammar errors, that's easy. Do not make spelling and grammar errors. We have a lot of tools online nowadays that can help us with that. Use all of them. I know there are a lot of people that use things like Grammarly and all those tools. They will help. Also, asking someone else to read it will help you with that. Please, this is very important. Lack of specificity. We mentioned before, just general things. They are too general. They will not actually explain the value that you're adding. Trying to include everything. Your barbecue is lovely, but it does not need to go in your CV. If it does not add value to that specific job you are going for, don't add that. Lie or exaggerate. You already know lies are usually very easy to catch. Imagine you have a lie in your CV that you worked for 2 years in Google, but you do not have that on LinkedIn. And then someone in the interview is going to say, hey, why don't you have this on LinkedIn? Or imagine that you actually put it on LinkedIn and someone from Google say, hey, I've never seen you working here. And then you are in a problem. And not only you are risking actually dirtying your name with that employer, but a lot of employers actually talk between themselves. And you are actually risking your opportunity with other employers too. Be very careful. It's just not worth it. Also because, can you imagine the stress of actually saying that you know how to do something and then you are hired and you actually have to do that thing that you said that you know how to, but you actually don't. Very stressful. Don't. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
No, no.
If I know how to use Photoshop a little bit, and well, I've done it before. I know it's bad, probably bad, but I said that I know Photoshop on some level. And is this considered a lie?
Kinda. But the biggest problem of that is not only that it could be considered a lie, but that it was intentionally hiding the truth. And most of the hiring managers, they already know all that language. They will say some level. Nah, we already know what that means. That means the most basic level. So it's better to just say basic understanding of Photoshop.
Okay, but I can mention that I am learning really fast, and I can acquire any new skill. I can
Yes.
watch a tutorial on YouTube.
Yes, absolutely. Fast learning is important, and also being able to learn by yourself is super important. Not only, oh, I need to do this course in university, or I need to go to this school to learn how to do Photoshop. No. I can teach it to myself. So actually, if you don't want to say I have a basic knowledge in Photoshop, you can say that you are teaching yourself Photoshop. It's a different way of saying you are not talking about your level, but you are talking that you are constantly improving that.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. Unprofessional email. Oh my God, the amount of people that say that, oh, in the contact information, my email is CamillaBeautiful@gmail.com. CamillaSexy@gmail.com. Can you imagine the face of the employer looking at that and like, oh my God, I have to send an email to CamillaSexy@gmail.com. Just you can save yourself and the hiring manager all that moment. It's going to be very awkward. So please create an email. Does not matter, like if your name is taken, add numbers. It's all right. Numbers are not shameful. Camilla Sexy is. So numbers, use the numbers. They are nice. Cluttered or poor formatting. I understand that not everyone knows how to format a CV very well, how to design, how to create amazing things. That's why keeping it simple, as we mentioned before, take a template from Google. A lot of them actually have templates in Word that they look pretty cool, and they will have enough to actually show your what you actually want to show, even if it's basic. It's better that than trying to design and actually having something looking horrible. Not adapting your CV, as I mentioned before, please adapt your CV to the job positions that you actually care about. They're important. And incorrect contact information. Imagine that you put your email wrong, and that person was very interested in contacting you or getting you to interview, but that email never reached you. So be careful. I will actually be very quick through those examples because time. So basically, this CV looks so pretty. There's no machine that is going to read this at all. Actually, if you try to find the name of this girl, you are going to have a hard time because it's here, very small, here, very small, on the top, Miriam Calvo Gallego. How is her name the smallest thing on her CV? Not only that, software. She knows PS, ID, AI, and PR. What is that? If you have technical knowledge to understand that this is Photoshop, InDesign, where's this? Illustrator? No, this is not Illustrator. I have no idea. And Premiere, then okay, lovely. But most of the time you won't. Was it that hard to just write Photoshop instead of just adding a PS? Also, she designed business card. She did storefront design and comic illustration. That's it. That's all that she did all day in those jobs. she has a fine arts degree. What are you supposed to learn in fine arts degree? Because I don't know. I've never had a fine arts degree. And if I were to hire this person, I wouldn't know. So all of these, please. I will go on these. You have in the slide. Cover letters. Imagine that you are very good with explaining and storytelling. That's when the cover letter appears. Cover letter is something that will go attached to your CV. It's not one or the other. It will not substitute your CV. Meaning, please do not just write the same thing that you have in your CV in your cover letter. That's not going to work. Because if the employer already read it in one of them, why would they want to read it again? Okay. So on average, keep it simple, 250 to 400 words long. But imagine if you were the one trying to get a new employee and you had to read 30 cover letters, you would be dead. So please think about this person, keep it simple, empathize with them, and keep it short. Because the only thing that you need to do in the cover letter is spark interest, is to show them, hey, by the way, I have something interesting to show you on my CV. So the first thing that you will write there, apart from your contact information, don't forget these. The first thing that you're going to explain there is what did you achieve that was so cool that will make this hiring manager want to hire you. That's your first paragraph. You say, I am this, I have experience with these, and I achieved these. This is the first thing. Then you can tell all the other things that you know how to do. But that would be the thing that will say, I learned this sentence, I'm interested, I will keep learning. Okay? So thereafter, so you start with your contact information, you greet the hiring manager. Let's forget about this, dear sir, dear madam, or to whom it might concern. We have enough tools nowadays to go on and find who the hiring manager is. So go on LinkedIn. Most of the time, if your job offer was on LinkedIn, in the bottom of the job offer, there will be the name of the hiring manager. Address the letter to them, because that will show that you are actually customizing this letter for each job. If the job is not on LinkedIn or the name of the person is not there, think for yourself. Okay, what is this position? This is a marketing position. Who is the hiring manager? The marketing manager. Go on LinkedIn and find who is the marketing manager of this company. A 90% of chance that you're going to be right. And even if you are wrong, at least people will say like, oh, I understand what they did. I understand that at least they customized the letter. Okay, opening paragraph. As I mentioned before, achievements show why you are so cool. Second paragraph, explain why you are perfect for that specific job. Explain what you can do for them. The third paragraph, if you want, explain why you're a good match for the company. This is when you are going to show that you understand the company, that you understand the values of the company, that you understand what the company is about, that you actually cared enough to at least go on the web page and read the About Us section and tailor your letter to them. That will show interest, okay? And of course, end with a formal closing. You know, your sincerely and all those kind of things. Okay, this is important as I know that we don't have a lot of time. I will leave my email here on the chat for anyone that needs to drop at whatever time you guys have. I don't know what difference we have. That needs to drop at the clock. Here you have my email. If you want to design your CV and send it to me, please be my guest. I would love to see what you guys can do. and I would love to be able to give you tips. Okay, so if you want, of course, this is not work, this is not assignment, this is not homework. You only do this if you want. And for whoever has a little bit of time, maybe 10 minutes, and I'll be finished with this. Okay, portfolio. So sometimes you need a little bit of added to that curriculum. So imagine that you don't have a lot of experience, or that the kind of job that you want to have is a very graphic one. You want to showcase what you actually know how to do. The perfect place for this is a portfolio, because it serves as a skill demonstration point. It complements your curriculum, and this is super cool. It shows the evolution of your skills and your style. So I'll explain this. A portfolio is not done one day, one night. When you sit in the computer and you create a portfolio, it's not that easy. Portfolio is basically a grouping of all this work that you did for years, months, a lot of things that you did in the past. So it will show even those old works that they are not that good, and how your work improved now that you have these, design that you created a week ago. So it will show to the employer, look, in 6 months, this person went from this to this. Now I can understand how fast they learn, how fast they improve, how fast they adapt. Portfolio is amazing. Okay, also, it demonstrates commitment. Doing a portfolio is so much work. It takes so long. A lot of us, people that work on the creative side, we know that we tend to create a lot of things, and we do not document them. We do not present them anywhere. So I don't know, I had a lot of web pages that I created in the past, and who knows where they are, because I never documented them. So creating a portfolio is all about commitment. It's all about saying, no, I will keep doing this. I will keep updating my portfolio. So it shows to the company that you have what it needs for this job. So here are some examples of tools that you guys can use to create a portfolio. So in WordPress, for whoever does not know this, is a place where you can create web pages and blogs. So in here, basically, you can create anything. You can use these for, say, if you like writing, you can create a blog here, add all the things that you like to write, news, articles, novels. Yes, Jane?
Oh, sorry, finish what you said. I want you to ask to go back to curriculum supplement, because I don't actually understand what it's about. Thank you.
Okay, for sure. So it's a curriculum supplement in the way that what it does is add information that you cannot fully explain just through words. You cannot fully explain this on the curriculum. You cannot exactly show how much you learned, what's your style, and what exactly you can do just by explaining. Like a lot of times, it's very difficult to say, oh, I know how to design apps, and actually show them how good you are at designing apps.
Oh, okay. I got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so on WordPress, you can create almost anything, but it's a very good tool for people that write. Medium is another one that I did not add there. Sorry, Medium. Behance and Dribbble, they are mainly for designers, photographers, anyone that works with a more graphic type of art. Also, people that design apps, that design webs, all of them are there. GitHub is for developers, people that write code, people that make a lot of things that I do not understand, hard things, maths, and all these kind of things. But look, it does not have to be that hard. You can create a PowerPoint that shows your works. That also works perfectly. It does not have to be something amazing. A lot of times, imagine you actually want to send your GitHub to an owner of the small company, and they do not even know how to log in on GitHub. So sometimes a PowerPoint work very well. And Adobe InDesign is another tool, mainly for things that are graphic for publishing. So magazines, posters, all those kind of things, they can be created there. If I just need one thing for you guys to learn out of this, is this. Just remember this one thing. Don't be afraid to sell yourself and tell them everything you've done. Because if you don't say it, they will never know how amazing you are. This is what this workshop and the CV is about. Questions? Yes, I'm so sorry. I will not try your name. You can teach me how to say it though.
Okay, my name is Carolina, and if we're talking about resumes or motivation lists to the university, what examples of evidence of our skill can we provide in that, like in terms of teamwork, diplomas, or photos that confirm your volunteer work?
So a lot of times, mainly for universities, evidence is not necessary. A lot of times they will take your word for it, as long as you are able to explain very well what the project was and what you did in that project. Okay, a lot of times it's not about showing, oh, I did this research paper with all these other people that can vouch for me on how good I am. No, it's about, look, I created this project. It was hard for me while I was creating it, but I got to achieve it through these and these and these, and those are the things that I learned out of these. Because in the end, it's more about how you explain this and how you sell this than what you can actually demonstrate, at least for university. Later, when we're talking about jobs, etc., and you were talking about specific numbers, for example, the 10K followers on Instagram, then you will probably need to show that if they want with a report. But in university, that's usually not the case. And in university, is a lot more about showing how you have and how you understand your own soft skills than proving that you have them. I don't know if that explains anything to you.
Okay, it's clear. Thank you.
Thank you. More? Any more questions? Okay, so thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for staying over time. I know that I'm a little bit out of the time slot. There you have my email. You are also going to have, if you don't already, the slides. I'm sure Will is going to share with you the recording for the session too. Yes, that's any doubt you have. Imagine that you are studying these later and you have a question that you didn't think about earlier. Send me an email. I don't bite. Okay? Send me an email, ask questions, send me the CV, add us on LinkedIn. If you want to revamp your LinkedIn and want a class about how to revamp your LinkedIn, we can talk about this. Talk to Will, and he will tell me, and we can do another session of this if you're not tired enough of my voice by now.
Thank you so much, Camis. Yeah, you speak with lots of passion and in a very entertaining way. So thank you very much for sharing your time again and sharing this information with us. As you mentioned, I will be sharing the deck of slides and the recording from this meeting with Irina via email, so she can share with you all. And then feel free to add us on LinkedIn. And yeah, she's a great presenter. So maybe our next topic could be public speaking, because you're very good at it.
I just like to talk, like skill for public speaking, like to talk a lot.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your days. And I hope to see you all in the next following session. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.